So I think by now we have all heard about the Huda Beauty and Beauty Bakerie kind of makeup community drama. Beauty Bakerie is an indie brand from California. Their entire marketing shtick is basically packaging their makeup products and marketing them and branding them as cooking products. So that's why it's called Beauty Bakerie. They would sell setting powders as flowers, their foundation as cake mix. Just basically like a really cool, original, cute idea to brand their makeup company. Now Huda Beauty is of course a massive company. She has had the Desert Dusk palette, like basically her eyeshadow palettes, like all of her branding has been done more with under the Arabic theme, like this desert theme. And so recently Huda Beauty launched an under eye setting powder, a baking powder, and the campaign was basically what Beauty Bakerie has been doing. That's what the tea is, right? What I want to do in this video here is, rather than just kind of give my own thoughts or opinions on this topic, is to give you more of a legal insight into how is that possible, how come that Huda was able to kind of steal this really unique concept from Beauty Bakerie and that legally everything is fine. So one area of law that you might have heard about is intellectual property law, otherwise also called IP law. And this is an umbrella term for, well, any kind of intellectual property rights that creators of products or any kind of innovation might have. So anything to do with patents, copyrights, design rights, moral rights, you know, anything like that. Trademark. Now IP law is kind of different in many jurisdictions, but because of the nature of it, obviously because companies exist in different countries, it is very globalized, it is very internationalized under different treaties, so there is some uniformity to the law. Now when we're talking about the case of Beauty Bakerie versus Huda Beauty, the main thing that Huda Beauty stole from Beauty Bakerie is the idea. The concept of packaging makeup as a baking product, as a kitchen product. She didn't steal the packaging, she didn't steal the name, so this is a very interesting area of IP law which is pretty underdeveloped for good or bad reasons, in that protecting an idea is very difficult or almost undesirable. So just to fall back to the very start, so since you know kind of the words patents or copyrights or trademarks, I want to kind of clarify them for you. And excuse me if I'm looking kind of down because I do have a law textbook here loaded up on my laptop, so I will be reading some of this out. So a patent is actually a monopoly of rights which gives the maker of a product or a machine or medicine exclusive rights to do with that product or medicine or machine as they wish. It lasts for something like 20 years and you have to apply for a patent and prove certain things. Prove that your invention is new, that there is something innovative about it, and that it's unique. So there's nothing really that Beauty Bakerie would be able to patent with the idea of packaging a makeup product as a baking product. An idea is not patentable, it's not innovative or totally new. It's not something that you can have an exclusive right over. Imagine being able to patent an idea. This limits the market in a very restrictive way. Then it kind of limits innovation. People are not able to use ideas or jump off of ideas or basically expand their creative mindsets. If an idea belonged to somebody, if a way of doing something belonged to somebody, it would be very limiting on the market. It would also mean that if that one person or one company has monopoly over an idea, you know, if you've studied economics, you will know that a monopoly is usually not a very good thing because there's no competition, prices are able to skyrocket, quality is not controlled by competition. So it is a very kind of restrictive right, a patent, that is applied for and then kind of very restrictively given away to people. So then a copyright is actually not something you apply for, but it happens on creation of any kind of work. So whether you write a song or a TV show or a book, since you're the original creator and assuming that your book or song is original and new, you have the copyright to that song and it's automatic. Then you have something called design rights, which is something that would be most applicable to Beauty Bakerie case actually. And so design rights protect designs applied to something. It says here that a design can be registered if the application of the design is new and its visual appeal is material to a purchaser of the article. And provided that the design is original and not commonplace. So think of something like Louis Vuitton or Louboutin shoes. This kind of design that's very unique to a brand can be registered as a design right. If, let's say, Chanel wanted to create a design that resembled the Louis Vuitton design of the interlocking L and V, and perhaps they wanted, you know, an interlocking, I don't know, I guess Chanel also has the interlocking C's, but you know what I mean. If they were to really make a Chanel bag that from afar to an experienced Louis Vuitton buyer looked like a Louis Vuitton bag, and then upon closer inspection it was actually Chanel, if it was that really close, then Louis Vuitton would have a case in design right. There are a lot of kind of circumstances that really have to be met for these kind of you know, lightweight rights to be granted to someone. So, you know, in case of Louis Vuitton then suing somebody, for Louis Vuitton to kind of win that kind of a case, they would need to prove a lot of things, just because, like I said, it is very restrictive to give someone a legal right over an idea or even a design. Unfortunately, this doesn't really apply to Beauty Bakerie here, because Huda didn't steal the design. She didn't package her setting powder just like Beauty Bakerie did. She just marketed and branded it as a baking product. So the only really other thing that Beauty Bakerie could rely on is this general principle of preventing unfair competition in the marketplace. This kind of springs up a lot of rules that have emerged from courts of law around the world and around different jurisdictions on things like free writing or blurring or passing off. So what I mean by this, and I basically have two cases here still from the beauty kind of industry. The first one I want to talk about is the Fenty versus Topshop case. This is a British case of Rihanna, Miss Fenty, suing Topshop for selling a top with a picture of her. I think she was filming in Northern Ireland for what is it, Talk That Talk video or something like that. And so basically it was a very recognizable picture of the tour of that album of Rihanna's that Topshop then printed off on their tops and were selling without the permission of Rihanna. Now Rihanna then sued Topshop for what's called passing off. What this means is that Topshop was passing off a product that they have created as something that Rihanna has perhaps endorsed. And Rihanna was able to win that fight, that legal case, because she proved that she had already established herself in the beauty and the fashion industry as a role model, so as someone that we might look up to and as someone that we might be induced to buy a piece of fashion clothing because of the endorsement of that person. And the other thing that she proved was that Topshop had a working relationship with her in the past, and they have advertised Rihanna's presence in their shops. They once had, in 2010, this kind of a contest where you were able to win like a personal one-on-one shop with Rihanna and Topshop. And basically the court ruled, you know, by doing this, by selling this top with Rihanna's picture on it, you are lying to your customers. You are counting on raising your sales by the fact that a normal consumer might be misled by the fact that picture of Rihanna on that top that Topshop is selling, that she has endorsed this item. And the problem with that is basically that Rihanna, if she were to allow this and if the courts weren't to grant her the rights of, you know, kind of controlling her image, she would lose the control over what she is endorsing in the fashion industry and what she isn't. And this is something that the legal system feels should be awarded to people who have a reputation in a certain field. So applying this to Beauty Bakerie, for this to be actionable for Beauty Bakerie against Huda Beauty, what Huda Beauty would have needed to have done in favor, obviously, of Beauty Bakerie's legal case against them would be to sell her setting powder as Beauty Bakerie's baking powder. And obviously that's not what she's doing. She has made it very clear that even though she has branded and marketed her pressing powder as baking flour or as a baking material, she is selling it as a product of Huda Beauty rather than Beauty Bakerie. So she's not saying she's created a line in association with Beauty Bakerie. There's no word Beauty Bakerie on the packaging. There's nothing to associate her product with the Beauty Bakerie's own products that would mislead a general consumer. It's the same idea that she perhaps stole from Beauty Bakerie, but she's still marketing and branding it as her own product. So this is not really something that Beauty Bakerie would be able to go for in court of law. Another case is a shorter one here, and it's actually Louis Vuitton versus My Other Bag. My Other Bag is an idea that a lady had from this kind of popular bumper sticker theme in America called My Other Car, where a really like rundown or a cheap car would have a bumper sticker with something like a Mercedes saying that's actually my other car. So what she did with My Other Bag is she actually produced like cheap tote bags, and she would print out a cartoonish versions of Louis Vuitton bags or Chanel bags or really expensive iconic handbags with saying My Other Bag. So I'm carrying this really cheap tote bag, but at home I actually have a Louis Vuitton that I'm not carrying because I don't want to right now. And Louis Vuitton sued the company for blurring. Now what blurring meant in that case is Louis Vuitton argued that their world-famous trademark of a bag, so even though this was a cartoonish kind of version of their bag on those cheap tote bags, the general image of a Louis Vuitton bag is so world-renowned that everybody was able to recognize that animated picture, that cartoonish picture, that caricature of the Louis Vuitton bag as a Louis Vuitton bag. So what they argued was that she was actually using that image for her own purposes of, you know, pushing her own brand, which would lead to blurring, which means leading to a dilution of this world-renowned trademark and leading the general customer to thinking maybe it's less exclusive now, that it's less of a unique deal now that it's kind of everywhere anyways. And so what Louis Vuitton was saying was that, you know, that's obviously damaging their business and it's making them lose control over this design. Louis Vuitton actually lost this case on something that's actually very popular on YouTube. It's the right to fair use, which is a very big right under the First Amendment of the American Constitution, and it's the right to parody something, to make fun of something, to comment on something. Your right to free speech allows for these things to derive from the Constitution's First Amendment. And since the tote bag, the My Other Bag, was obviously a joke, the company's activities were protected. So how this would apply to Beauty Bakerie's case against Huda Beauty? Well, they could potentially argue that Huda Beauty, using their idea to sell an under eye setting powder and to package and brand and market it as a baking product, a kitchen product, actually makes people think of Beauty Bakerie anyway, because they're so world established in that area of selling beauty products as baking products, and is therefore blurring the line between Beauty Bakerie's originality and something else that's not Beauty Bakerie, that's Huda Beauty. And I don't think that could ever be actionable in court for Beauty Bakerie either, because, well, they're not world-renowned for packaging makeup as beauty products. And it's one to say that Louis Vuitton has established, you know, a right towards their design because it's something that they've done. It's something that's totally unique. But it's difficult to say that an idea to package a beauty product as a baking product is wholly unique or it's something totally innovative. It's really difficult to say that, and it kind of comes back to the comment I made at the start, in that giving monopoly rights to somebody over something as fluffy or fairy or general as an idea is very, very problematic to an open market, to the economy. It would limit creativity. So this is my little rundown of the whole shebang. From my own personal point of view, I do think it is unfair for Huda Beauty to have used that so kind of outrightly, and as a massive company with a massive marketing budget and a massive, you know, team of people who are able to think of different things, to kind of use that idea from a small indie brand in California, I think it's really unfair. But unfortunately, IP law is something that needs to be a little bit honed down on rights and giving people rights. I thought it would be interesting to kind of give this topic another point of view rather than just my personal thoughts on this, which you now know. If you think that the law should be different, do comment down below, share this video on somewhere like Twitter and add these people, add these commentators. Let's spark a discussion of the law rather than talking opinions. Opinions are like assholes, everybody has one, and it's very difficult to change somebody's opinion. I hope you enjoyed this kind of a different content from me. So if you'd like to see more videos like this and videos on beauty, which is what I usually do anyway, do subscribe and stay notified. I'm gonna see you in my next video. Bye!